From the studios of the Optimism Institute and home of the Blue Sky podcast comes this month's edition of A Bit of Blue Sky, the mini podcast with major optimism. I'm your host, Bill Burke, and every month we'll present these shorter versions of our flagship show, covering a range of subjects in a fun-sized format, while always keeping our eyes on the notion that there's always blue sky above. Sometimes you just have to get your head above the clouds to see it. Greetings all, and welcome to this May 2025 edition of A Bit of Blue Sky. I had a few ideas about topics for this month's edition and settled just after this last week on mentorship and this notion that none of us is particularly self-made. We've all had influences from others. And I was motivated to talk about it this month by the Arts Educators Save the World podcast. I had Erica Halverson on as a Blue Sky guest, and we also set up a feed swap where she ran one of our episodes with Vanessa Cooksey. And just this past episode, we had Jonathan Groff, the amazing award-winning actor. But what makes that concept and her show so special is that not only do incredibly talented people like Jonathan Groff come on, but they're joined by educators, mentors, people who made a difference in their lives. And it occurred to me that that's a really important subject, one that can make us optimistic about the future and our role and potential role as being a mentor or guide for people, and then also to express gratitude for the folks who have helped us along the way. So I'll take a first crack at this and talk about some of the influences in my own life, and start at the very beginning with two great parents, two very involved parents, sometimes perhaps too involved. At least I thought so. But amazing people who, my dad could be very tough, but he was very involved. He loved us. He wasn't afraid to tell us that. And he was also a terrific role model in terms of being an honest, ethical, hardworking business person who achieved great success, but with a healthy dose of humility. And when it comes to optimism, I really have to tip my cap and give a lot of credit to my mom. My dad since passed away. My mom is about to turn 90 this fall. And she always had that sunny, positive disposition. She was no pushover, don't get me wrong, but always accentuated the positive, always looked ahead to better days. To this day, if I give her a call and say, gee, Mom, it looks like the weather's pretty lousy there, she'd say, yeah, but it's going to be nice tomorrow. Or, yeah, but we need the rain. Or, yeah, but the neighbor's kids are so nice, they shovel my driveway. So big influences there, starting with my parents. And in addition to my parents, I was exposed to aunts and uncles, also many of whom of high achievement and all of whom with great humility and high ethical standards that meant a lot to me growing up. And I also, as you know, have a great love of history. And my dad was always reading World War II books. John Mulaney, the comedian, says that men seem to get to an age where they start reading World War II books like they're cramming for a final. My dad was one of those. But I remember I had a high school history teacher, AP history, senior year, and he taught history in a way that really lit me up, really got me that much more interested. It wasn't all facts and figures. It was about people and events. And Mr. Wickstead was my high school history teacher, really made a difference for me. And I thought about him as I was putting this together. And I would, if I were on a podcast like Arts Educators Save the World, History Educators Save the World, it would be Mr. Wickstead would be on there with me. In my professional career, I've had all kinds of people help me out along the way. The one who has had the most lasting and biggest impact on me, I would say, is Ted Turner. When I worked at his company, he was always my boss's boss, but I got to know him pretty well and certainly got to know his impact on people, his incredible optimism. I've said before that not every optimist is an entrepreneur, but every entrepreneur had better be an optimist, and Ted was that in spades. No matter what the challenge was, he always thought he'd figure out a way to be up to it. Everything from business challenges to global issues like climate change and nuclear weapons. And then I was fortunate enough to spend a few years writing a book with him and got to know him that much better and learned that in his early sailing days, when he was not particularly good, he would say that I'm not losing, I'm just learning how to win. And he kept learning how to win to the point where he was America's Cup champion and considered at the time the greatest ocean racer in the world. So in terms of my professional influences, Ted Turner was a huge one and also gave me a great sense of optimism for the potential to make an impact on the world and the importance to at least try. So now turning to some blue sky guests. This is a bit of blue sky after all. And as I thought about interviews we've done and people who've been on our episodes, it struck me how many of them talked very openly and gratefully about people who have influenced them. I think about Burt Jacobs talking about his mom and her optimism, Kelly Corrigan and her parents, and in particular, the optimism of her dad, John Valverde's father, who reunited with him in prison when John was in prison and came and told him that it was time to make amends and to make something of his life. And John took that to heart and did just what his father encouraged him to do. Jeru Billamoria, if you've listened to that one, talked about her mom. When she was a little girl, her mom would ask her before bedtime, how many people did you help today? How many people did you make smile? And she thinks about that in her work to this day. Latasha Brown told a beautiful story about going to the voting booth with her grandmother, who would dress up in her Sunday best to bring her good pocketbook when she'd go to vote. And that instilled in her a sense of the importance of the right to vote. And of course, Jonathan Conyers and Deco being the mentor to Jonathan, and now both of them working together to mentor young people at the Brooklyn Debate League. So now how about all of you listening? I would encourage you to take a little time to think about those people along your life's pathway that have helped you out, have shored you up when you needed it. And also think about people who you've mentored or you've helped out, or maybe you could start having that kind of relationship with. I think you'll find that it'll make you appreciate the wisdom and the experiences that you've had. It'll make you feel good about helping other people. And I don't like the expression pay it forward, but it gives you a chance to pay it forward. All the benefits that you've had in your life, pass those along to people and make you feel great. I think it'll make you feel a little bit more optimistic about the future, especially when you work with young people. I've had more than one guest talk about the positive feelings they get and the hope they have for the future when they work with young people. So think about that. And as you identify people for whom you have appreciation, try to tell them so. In doing this episode, I'm working on trying to find Mr. Wickstead. So if anyone knows where David Wickstead might be, I think I found his profile on LinkedIn. I've tried to send him a note. If anyone has any ideas, let me know. But I'd also love to hear from all of you about those people in your life who've made a positive difference for you. I think we'd all appreciate sharing that and give us a sense of hope and optimism for the world going forward. So I hope you enjoyed this May 2025 edition of A Bit of Blue Sky about mentorship and gratitude. And I am grateful to the good folks at Sound On, Sound Off who edit and mix these episodes every week. You can learn more about them at soundonsoundoff.com. And the good folks at Crush Graphics, who do all the cover art and design work for both Blue Sky and the Optimism Institute. You can find them at crushgraphics.com, and that's Crush with a K. Until next time, I am Bill Burke. I am the founder of the Optimism Institute and host of Blue Sky. And as always, I very much appreciate you all listening, for all your support, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Thanks.